Welcome back to our next lesson, section 1-2. We are going to today talk about slope-intercept form. This should be reviewed from 8th grade as well. We should remember slope-intercept form of the equation is y equals mx plus b, where the value of m stands for the slope, meaning rise over run from the last section that we talked about, and b stands for the y-intercept, or where the point that crosses the y-axis. And remember, the y-intercept is an ordered pair, 0, comma b, the point where it crosses the y-axis. So the first thing we want to be able to do is sketch a graph of an equation in slope-intercept form. So we're given the graph y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. So if we compare that to slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, that means our slope here is negative 2/3. Our y-intercept is the point 0.04. The y-intercept is 0.04. So remember from 8th grade, we begin graphing with b. We begin b. So we begin graphing my 0.4, and we move m. We move my slope of m. And here my slope of m is negative 2/3. So we're going to rise negative 2 and run 3. So from my y-intercept of 4, I'm going to come down 2 and run 3. I came down 2 because 2 was negative. I run 3 because 3 is positive, so I'm going 3 to the right. I place my point, and I can do that as often as I would like. I can come down 2, run 3, place my point, or I can go the opposite direction. I can go up 2, and I can come back 3 and place my point, and that will give me all the points and cover up my graph. And now I can draw in the equation, or draw in the graph of the line. So graphing lines from slope-intercept form. If I want to write an equation in example 2 of the line that goes through 2 points, first thing we need to know is find the slope. Well, we just practiced that in the last section, so we're going to identify our points as x1, y1, x2, y2. We're going to find the slope using our slope formula. So again, our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Substituting into our formula, y2 is negative 4 minus y1 of 5 over x2 of 3 minus x1 of 0. So simplify, negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. 3 minus 0 is 3. So negative 9 divided by 3 gives me a slope of 0. Next step will be to find the y-intercept. My y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and they tell us, in this case, my y-intercept here is 0.5. So they're telling us the value of b directly is 5. So I now know m is negative 3. I know my b is negative 5. So when I substitute into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, I can substitute in the negative 3 for the m, the b is 5, and I get my equation y equals negative 3x plus 5. So that's if they give us one of our points directly as the y-intercept. In example 3, a similar type problem, and they're giving us 2 points, but one of the points is not the y-intercept. So we're going to begin the same way. We're going to find the slope. So identify your points, x1, y1, x2, y2. Substitute into your formula for slope. So y2, 10 minus y1 of 4 gives you 6 over x2, 1 minus x1, negative 2, so minus a negative plus 1 minus negative is plus, so over 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. But this time they don't give us directly the y-intercept. So now we need to calculate the y-intercept. So we can substitute into the equation y equals mx plus b, and we are going to solve for our value of b. So we are going to choose one of the two given points, substitute into the rest of my equation. The x and the y come from the ordered pair, and in this case, I'm going to choose the second point because I like to choose those that are positive, not the negative points, because the x1 in the first coordinate is negative, so I'm not going to choose that one. I'm going to choose the second one. So the y value is the 10. The slope we just calculated to be the 2. And then the x coordinate from the point is 1. And now we can solve for y. So 10 equals 2 plus b. We'll subtract 2 from both sides, and we'll get the y-intercept, the b, to be 8. So now we have a slope of 2, a y-intercept of 8, and y equals 2x plus 8. We would have gotten the same y-intercept if we would have chosen the first point, negative 2, 4, and substituted in and solve for my equation in slope-intercept form as well. That is a shortcut method from what you had done back in 8th grade. Back in 8th grade, you would have used point slope formula. Y minus y1 is equal to the slope times x minus x1. And you would have substituted in. And again, I'm going to choose that second point. So y minus y1 of 10 is equal to the slope of 2 times x minus x1 of 1. We'll distribute on the right. So 2x minus 2. We'll add 10 to both sides. And y will equal 2x plus 8. And notice how we ended up with the same equation in slope-intercept form, just using a different method. So this time I'm showing you a new method if you did not learn the method of slope-intercept form instead of point slope form that you might have learned back in 8th grade. And example 4, now graphing the sketch, or sketch the graph, of 2x plus or minus 5y equals 10. This equation is given to you in what was called standard form. How do we know it is in standard form? Because we have ax plus by is equal to c. X's plus y's equals constants, what was called standard form. So before we can sketch that, we need to put it into slope-intercept form, meaning we need to solve for y. So how do we solve it for y? We practice that skill. So I'm going to solve for y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 2x. So I'm going to copy it down over here. 2x minus 5y equals 10. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. The 2x's will cancel. We'll have negative 5y. On the right, 10 minus 2x, they're not like terms. We can't combine them. And I'm going to put the x term first so that it's already looking like slope-intercept form. Divide each term by that constant, negative 5. The negative 5's will cancel, and we'll have y equals negative divided by negative is positive 2/5 x, and 10 divided by negative 5 is negative 2. So y equals 2/5 x minus 2. So now we have our equation in slope-intercept form. So now we can think about going through and graphing it. So let's do so. So let's first identify my slope is 2/5. My y-intercept is negative 2. So sketch yourself a graph. So we need a set of coordinate axes. I have some drawn over here to the right. So I'm going to begin B at negative 2, so on my y-axis at negative 2. And I'm going to move M, rise over run. So I'm going to rise 2, run 5, rise 2, run 5 more. and then I can sketch in the graph of my line. So those are the skills that we are going to work on in this particular section. Okay? So let's practice some of these skills. On the next pages, we are going to see some practice. We're not going to do all of them. I'm going to pick one or two from each section, and we're going to finish the rest of them together in class. So on the next page, number 1, slope of 3, b, y-intercept of -2. The very first thing they want us to do is to write the equation of the line down here at the bottom. So y equals a slope of 3x, intercept is -2, so y equals 3x minus 2. And we're also supposed to graph it. So graph begin at -2, slope of 3, make it a fraction. So we have rise over run. So rise 3, 1, 2, 3, run 1, rise 3, run 1, or come down 3 and back 1. And always do as many as what we can to fill up the graph, and then use your straight edge to make your line, make the graph of that line. Skip down to number 5. We'll finish the rest of those in class. Writing the equation in standard form into slope-intercept form, meaning solve for y. So let's solve for y. So 3x plus 2y equals 14. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. So 2y will be -3x plus 14. Remember, they're not like terms. We can't combine them. Divide each term by 2. So y is -3/2 x plus 7 in slope-intercept form. Over on the next page, we're going to identify the slope and y-intercept for each line, and then sketch the graph of each equation. We'll go down here to number 11. So number 11 is not given to us in standard form, or it's given to us in standard form. We need to put it in slope-intercept form. So let's solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So 5y is -3x minus 10. Divide both sides by 5. So y is -3/5 x minus 2. So that tells me my slope is -3/5. My y-intercept, we should be writing these, is -2. So as an ordered pair, it's 0, -2. And now we can sketch. My y-intercept is -2. Slope is down 3, 1, 2, 3, run 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I can go 1, 2, up 3 and back 5 and sketch in your line. Over to problem number 16. Write the equation for the line. So we need to know the slope and the y-intercept. So let's first identify the y-intercept. So here my y-intercept, my b is up here at +5. Identify a second point on my graph that the line goes through. So let's see, maybe here. So my slope looks like we're coming 1, 2, down 3, and we're running 1. So my slope, I came down 3, ran 1, so my slope looks like -3. So my equation, y equals mx plus b, my slope is -3x. My y-intercept is +5. So my slope y equals -3x plus 5. And last but not least, down here, writing the equations of the lines. We practiced these. So we'll do number 22. So write the equation of the line going through 2 points. So first, find the slope. So I'm going to pause the video. You find the slope. We're able to find the slope as 0. The y-intercept, we need to find b. The y-intercept is given to us directly here. So my b is 3. So a slope of 0. So 0x plus 3. We never write a 0.